Dear students, once again, before you is Diko Amos Didians, a teacher from Namugongo Secondary and Vocational School, taking you through in entrepreneurship education, A-level, paper 2. Remember last time we looked at a topic of cash flow statement. And when we looked at cash flow statement, we successfully defined cash flow statement. We looked at the features or the major characteristics of cash flow statement, and we reminded ourselves, we can never still remind ourselves that the cash flow statement, one of the major features is that it records transactions only on a cash basis. Credit transactions are not recorded in this cash flow statement, and we do not record non-cash items like depreciations and discounts. All these ones are not recorded in the cash flow statement. But remember, whether revenue items or capital items, so long as they take place on a cash basis, we record them in a cash flow statement. Then we looked at the components of cash flow statement. Remember last time we clearly said cash flow statement majorly has three components. We have balance brought down from the previous period of time, how much cash was brought from the previous time to the current period of time. Then we also looked clearly, we also said one of the major items which really gives the true name of this topic of cash flow statement is the cash inflows as well as cash outflows. And then we looked at cash inflows, that the avenues or sources that bring cash into the business. Then we also say cash outflows will only consider sources or avenues that take cash out of business. It should be cash. And this cash, remember, cash comprises of cash which is at hand or cash at the bank. So long as money belongs to the business and it is kept into the bank, that is the business cash. So long as there is a cash which is in the drawer of business drawer, there is that table, there's that, we call it office drawer. When the people do business, they get the money, they put it in the drawer there. So that, in other words, that's what we call the cash account. So whether cash at hand or cash at the bank, we consider it as one as cash. So whether money is going through, money is going out of bank or money is going through the hard cash, so long as it's going out, we shall record them under cash outflows. So we even went ahead, we emphasized clearly, we said the difference between cash inflows and the cash outflows is now what we call net cash position. And in fact, our major part today we are looking at under this cash flow statement starts with the net cash position. Net cash position. This net cash position is the difference. Net cash position is the difference between cash inflows and cash outflows. So therefore, when we put the total of all cash inflows, how was money flowing into the business? Money was flowing into the business through cash sales. Money was flowing into the business through loans. Money was flowing into the business through cash receipts from debtors. Money was flowing into the business through debentures, mortgages. Money was flowing into the business through grants, donations. All of this, when we get the total of all cash inflows, we now look at, we say, difference between cash inflows and the cash outflows. That is what the entrepreneurship, in entrepreneurship, what an entrepreneur wants to see clearly. And that is when the entrepreneur is very, very sensitive. Because there is end result. Then we say, when cash inflows are greater than cash outflows, That is when the entrepreneur will smile, because this difference is what we call surplus. There is going to be surplus which will remain. Money is going to be remaining in excess in the business. But now, the opposite is true, which will make the entrepreneur to look and to start scratching the head, where cash outflows are greater than cash inflows. I'm telling you, in this situation, the entrepreneur is not happy at all, because it will leave you into what? Deficit. And the deficit is what an entrepreneur does not want to see. And from there, as a businessman or as a business lady, you have to look for possible ways immediately to solve this problem. Because if it is a deficit, the business is going to be stuck. So from here, I want people to understand this clearly. Net cash position is the difference between cash inflows and cash outflows. Then in this case, if the cash inflows are more than cash outflows, the entrepreneur is happy, is enjoying surplus, there is much money in the business, you can run the business when you are happy, you can even handle every situation at ease. But when now cash outflows exceed cash inflows, you are stuck, the business is looking to be totally stuck, and in Uganda, you find that even other neighbors, you start even envying your neighbors. Some people say, I think my neighbor is bewitching me. Moreover, that is an error, probably, which led to this, which entrepreneur is supposed to study carefully and look at the solution of how to handle deficits. Now, in this aspect, we are looking at what is the format. How does cash flow statement look like? Cash flow statement, in this case, we are looking at format of cash flow statement. And when presenting this, we're looking at the presentation of cash flow statement or cash flow plan. If you are now representing cash flow plan for a given period or for given a range of period, because we may do this for given period of week or for given period of month. Sometimes we can cut the month quarterly. In a year, you cut months, three months for 4 times. Then that will be quarterly. Or you can get, for big businesses, you can prepare your cash flow statement weekly. For given period of weeks. In a month, you can say first week, second week, third week, fourth week. So that in a month, at least you have a cash flow statement which will represent, which will show how money has been flowing into the business or how money has gone out of business in a given period of month. So, as a student, how do you present what we call cash flow statement? So, I want us to look into this as format. Format of cash flow statement. When we're looking at the format of cash flow statement, what must come in your mind as a student is, 1, what is the business name whose cash flow statement you are preparing? 2, have you shown the keyword cash flow statement? 3, for which period of time? Assuming the business is belonging to, not to mention somebody's name, Adiko Holdings Limited. We now say Adiko Holdings Limited. Then cash flow statement for the month of, we can now be specific. In this case, I want to give simple months with very simple words. especially from April. You can say from April, I always like this, April, May, and June 2022. So, we are looking at the cash flow statement for these months, April, May, and June. So, when we have this, we now pick a ruler, we bring lines to show this clearly. The first column is representing details, so it must be big up to this. So here we indicate details. Now, the other month we have mentioned here is April, May, and June. Make that the remaining parts we shall be having 3 columns for a month. We have April, May, and June. And I always encourage students to bring these columns, and they should both be looking uniform. Don't create for April a very big column, then for May very tiny column. Then you'll be doing very ugly work. So April, May, and then June. Then when we write this, the most important thing you must not forget when you are presenting your cash flow statement is that all what we are writing here is in the unit of shillings. This is very, very important. And this is in Ugandan shillings. So that's how we write it. What is the penalty if you do not indicate this? Somebody will just imagine that the figures you have written here are representing what? So if the figures are not clearly identified, then it has no proper purpose. So the only purpose here now is that for given a period of time like this, April, May, and June, and indicate that all the figures which are written here are in unit of shillings. Perhaps if this cash flow statement is kept in Kenya, it could also be in Kenyan shillings. If it is in UK, it could be in pounds, and if it is in USA, it could be in dollars. So for us, when in Uganda, we want to indicate it clearly that this is the month April, May, June. We shall have the cash flow statement here in unit of shillings. And the first component from our first lesson, we said the first component starts with balance brought down. There are 2 aspects which people have in mind. You know, in a business, there are certain things. Somebody will say, balance brought forward, balance brought down, balance carried down, balance carried forward. Oh, what's the difference between these? Whether it is balance brought down, others can also call it as balance brought forward. They are the same. But the balance carried forward are different. I mean, it's different from this. Why? Carried forward is at the end of the month. Brought down or brought forward is at the beginning of the month. That is the only difference which I want people to know clearly. Now, after putting this, for every month, there must be balance brought down for every month. If there is no balance brought down, perhaps it is at the beginning of a given month. But there must be balance brought down in a cash flow statement for the start like this. In the case they don't give you the details of balance brought down from a given period, you can leave it. Somebody can even say, the balance carried forward in 2021 was shillings 10 million. So if the balance carried down is from December 31st of 2021, it means that balance is brought down now in 2022. So balance brought down and the balance carried down, they have always the same figure. That's what I wanted to emphasize. Now in this case, after putting balance brought down, come carefully, indicate now what we call as cash inflows. Put your cash inflows. Last time when we met, we had variety. We had a range of items under cash inflows. Now, all those items in a given question, they do not always appear all. Remember, we are having what format of cash flow statement or cash flow plan. So in this case, there is balance brought down. For those who probably may not follow line, who will always like following lines, will be following this line. For April will be here, May will be here, June will be here. Then we have cash inflows. So what are the examples of cash inflows? Or what are the sources that bring money into the business, that make money to flow into the business? One of them, we said cash sales. So you indicate cash sales here. If this cash sales was per month, then the cash sales per month will start be having their figures here. A question would be cash sales per month, shillings 800,000. Meaning that monthly they will be selling at 800,000. Then I will be putting 800,000 for April, for May, and for June. They can let me say cash sales per month, shillings 800,000, but will reduce by 10% in the last month. So all those computations will always come. But as per now, our cash sales, assuming the figures are here, and in this case we like putting X's to present our figures, meaning that the X's do not have any meaning. Somebody say, but teacher, you put here 2 X's, again here 2 X's. Is it a must that will be like this? No. The X's will show that there is going to be a figure to be placed here, figure to be placed here, a figure to be placed here. You can also have, some people will also say, the first money probably which you had put there probably was a business capital, the initial capital. So capital you put in the business will also be indicated among cash inflows. So the initial amount of money the business owner, the entrepreneur started the business with, can also be indicated here. This cash inflow. What about when the business got a loan from a bank? Perhaps the bank can be DFC, or it can be Abusa, it can be Sentinel. So, regardless of anything, don't stress yourself. Just say loan. You got a loan and the money was coming into the business. You indicate it there. And for loans are not picked every month. You may pick a loan only in 1 month. Then you clear them first. Then you pick another period later. So assuming this loan was only picked in the month of May, then it will be indicated here. You see? So loan was picked in the month of May. You indicate it here. Because we cannot pick loan monthly. Now, what about donations or grants? If you got donations, those who get donations, I told you, last time I told you that donations are given by people who have you at heart, but they have conditions. There are people who get donations simply because they are orphans or they are widows to get some boost. So meaning that if you're not an orphan, they cannot give you that, if that is the condition of giving the donation. A grant is better because probably it does not have any other strong condition to be followed. So all these items under cash inflows, for example, donations or grants, you come, and when was it received? Donations can be monthly. Somebody can give you donations monthly, and then you record them that way. But should there be a condition that the donations monthly is shillings, maybe 10 millions, and it will increase in the last month by 10% or by 5%. They will always give you the percentage. Look, be very, very careful. Monthly it was 10 millions. So we put our 10 millions here. Donations monthly 10 millions. And it will increase by a certain percentage. So, in this case, I feel we will have an increment. So now these ones are enough for cash inflows. We have cash outflows. Cash outflows. What are the components of cash outflows? We can look at the cash purchases. We can look at the cash payments, debtors. Not to debtors, to creditors. We can have loan repayment. Loan repayment. Now, what other avenue do we have? We can also look at taxes. Taxes to the government. So, if these are the avenues of our cash flows, cash purchases, we can put here, cash purchases, we can put them. Payment to the creditors, maybe the payment to the creditors, we're only starting in May only once. Loan repayments probably started in the last month, which is here. Taxes would be monthly. What will be now the total? Get the total for total cash outflows. If the total cash outflows for cash inflows for April is in 10 million, and the total cash outflows is probably 2 million. So we now get the difference between this and this to give us what we call below the totals as net cash position. And this net cash position will be here. And the same net cash position here is taken up here. It is going to be taken here. And it will still be added to this cash inflows to come up with this. Then we add cash outflows, it comes to this. Then we say total cash inflows minus total cash outflows will give you net cash position of this. And it is this which is also taken up here. So the way we take net cash position here to be balance brought down now signifies that balance brought down is the same as net cash position. My dear students, that is the format of cash flow statement, and when you follow it like that, basing on cash inflows and cash outflows, when you understand carefully, you will be enjoying. And this is one of the best things an entrepreneur would always wish to consider so much before looking at the profit and the loss account. I therefore encourage you to do more research on this, to revise it. Next time I will give you some question to practice out whether you understood our format here very well. I still remain Mr. Adiko Amos Didians, a teacher of Namugongo Secondary Vocational School, and I urge you to subscribe to our YouTube and get to enjoy our lessons anytime you want in any subject of your interest. I thank you so much. Here we come to the end of our lesson.